There's a set of stretches to complement your running routine. I'm going to show you each stretch. I'll show you an active version of a stretch that we can use in the warm-up. That's where you'll be moving gently in and out of each stretch. And then I'll show you a static version that you can do after your run. Static meaning that we're just going to hold the stretch. Each one of these we'll be doing for about 30 to 60 seconds. So let's get started. We're going to start off by stretching the hip flexors. So we'll come down onto one knee, place your hands on top of your knee, squeeze that opposite butt cheek, lift your chest, glide forward and exhale. Inhale and come out. Exhale forward and inhale out. Make sure that we're squeezing the butt cheek, keeping the tailbone tucked so that we feel the stretch in the hip flexor. This is your active version. When you're done with these, you're going to want to switch sides. I'll show you the static version on this side. Get set up exactly the same way. Lift your chest, squeeze that butt cheek, glide forward, and now we're just going to hold. Make sure we're lifting that chest, not arching the low back right here. Really targeting the hip flexor. That's your hip flexor stretch. Next, we're going to get into the TFL, this muscle right here, and the IT band that we're all familiar with. You're going to need a strap or something similar to wrap around your foot. So how we're going to get set up for this, if we are stretching the left leg, I'm going to throw this strap around my left foot, lay down on the ground, extend a straight leg up into the air, and then I'm just going to start to lean over to the side. I can let this hip raise off the ground, that's fine. Keep your top foot flexed, keep that leg straight and really relax your hip. Move your foot up and down in this range of motion, just stretching out all that tissue down the side of your leg on the top of your hip. That's your active version for this stretch. If we want to go static, we're going to find the place where we have the most tension, and for me, it's when my foot is kind of close to this bottom foot down here. That's where I really feel this stretch. If I was just getting done with the run, I'd hold this for 60 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds, something like that. All right, and then come out. That is your IT band stretch. Next one, we're going to get into the hamstrings. If you still want to have your strap and you want to use it, that's totally fine. We can use the strap or not. What I want to do is I want to make sure that my chest is lifted right here. If I've got a strap, it's wrapped around my feet. If I don't have a strap, I'm either grabbing below my shins or maybe my toes, but I'm keeping my chest lifted here. I'm not rounding my back forward. So lifted chest, exhale forward. There's your hamstring stretch. Exhale in and come out. You may want to keep a little bend in your knees right here. It may not feel productive for you if your knees are bent. So listen to your body, react accordingly. Keep your chest lifted. That's the big thing with this one. If we're holding it statically, we're just going to start to fold forward, keeping that chest lifted. That's it. Just holding this nice stretch, targeting the hamstrings. Next, we want to start to get into the hips a little bit more. And so the first thing we're going to do is work on our glutes. We're going to come down into a pigeon pose. So how I want to get set up for this one is we'll get started in tabletop right here. And I'm going to take my left foot and start to bring it up kind of close to the right hand. Now, if we have knee problems, go into this very gently, and all of us should make sure that we're taking care of our knees and flexing this foot right here. So go into it gently, and now start to walk that back knee back. Start to settle in. If you've never done this before, take your time and find this productive position where I'm getting a little stretched on the back side of this bent leg, kind of around the hip area. Keeping this foot flexed. For the warm-up, for the active version of this, I'm going to gently sway back and forth. Gently. Static, just hold. To come out, Gonna start to walk that back leg forward and then untwist. That's your pigeon pose. We're gonna do a reclined pigeon to get into another muscle on our backside, the piriformis. So for reclined pigeon, you're gonna come to your back, bring your feet close to your butt and then cross one leg over the other. And then we're going to reach through this little space that we created in our knees with one hand and then just around the side with the other. And then either reach behind your knee or in front of the knee, just depending on your flexibility. And then we're going to sink back, keeping this top foot flexed. And then just relax until we start to feel a stretch in a different portion on the backside. To be active with this, just kind of start to rock back and forth and just relax. And then to be static, pull on that back of your knee until we get into the depth that feels productive. Just like your other pigeon, make sure you're keeping that top foot flexed the entire time that you're in this pose. Now that we've taken care of our backside, we're going to move on down the leg. We're going to take care of our calves. Let's take care of the upper part of the calf first. So just place your hands on a wall. Take a staggered stance, just like this, and then point the toes forward. If the back foot's facing out a little bit, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's not facing totally out. Make sure that heel's on the ground. Back leg's going to be straight for this one. And then we're going to exhale, drive the hips forward, keeping that back leg as straight as we can. And then inhale back out. Just gliding in and out of this, should be feeling the stretch somewhere around behind the knee, maybe the upper part of the calf. Just moving in and out, that's your active version. Static, we're just holding this pose, driving the heel down into the ground. If it's okay with the knee, flexing the quad might help you get a little bit deeper into this stretch. That's how we stretch the top part of the calf. To get into the bottom part of the calf, we're going to do the exact same thing. Stagger your stance, keep your heels on the ground, but this time we're going to bend that back leg. So you may notice that you want to adjust your stance after this, like I just did. So maybe adjust your stance, keep that back leg bent, and then start to sink in, and then come out. Just bending the back leg, lightly driving the hips forward. This is how we stretch the soleus. The bottom part of your calf feels like it's connected to the Achilles tendon. This area right here. Super important for the runners. We usually forget this. All right, that kind of takes care of the legs and the hips, but there are other parts that we want to think about while we're running as well. You know, it's a core exercise, and so we need to stretch out the front and the back side as well. So, to stretch out our back, the low back area, we're going to do a wide leg forward fold. So, legs are nice and wide right here. We're going to flex the feet towards the face. You can even let them fall away from your body to the outsides right here. And now we're just going to start to fold forward. But this time, I'm going to keep a round spine and just relax the low back. Maybe feel a little stretch on the insides of the legs. And then I really want to round the spine right here. Multitasking, taking care of the low back and the adductors at the same time. I think you figured it out by now. Just lightly bounce. That's your active version. Your static version will just hold. That's going to take care of the adductors and the low back. And lastly, we want to take care of the abs as well. You know, your core is going to be engaged if you're running correctly. So we want to make sure that the abs are taken care of as well. So we'll come down onto the ground. And I want you to bring your elbows underneath your armpits just like this. Get a little space in between your feet. And then lift to the chest, squeeze your butt cheeks, start to engage those low abs by pulling your navel up the center of your chest. And roll your shoulders back down your spine. So we're stretching out the front side right here, these abdominal muscles. If you're feeling any pinching in the low back, come out of it, maybe spread your feet a little bit wider, squeeze your glutes a little bit more. For the active version, just move around, rock back and forth, and then for the static version, you're just gonna hold this and enjoy the last stretch of your cool down for your run. Try these out. Do them before and after every run for like the next week or so. See how you feel.